Commander Lee Hyun's boots echoed against the metal floor as he walked through the command center of Earth's primary defense station. The massive view screen ahead showed something that made his stomach turn. Hundreds of alien warships floating in perfect formation just beyond Earth's atmosphere. Each vessel was the size of a city, their dark hulls covered in weapons that could turn entire planets into space dust. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with alien voices. Creatures with tentacles instead of arms waved them angrily in the air. Bug-like beings with multiple eyes clicked their mandibles in what sounded like laughter, but it wasn't friendly laughter. It was the kind of sound predators made before they struck. "Commander?" Captain Park Mina's voice cut through his thoughts. She jogged toward him, her uniform wrinkled from hours of non-stop work. Dark circles under her eyes told the story of 3 sleepless days since the aliens had arrived. "The Vorthak ambassador is demanding an answer. 72 hours. That's all we have left." Hyun turned to face the main communication screen. The Thais Vorthak ambassador stood 8 feet tall, covered in scales that shifted color from green to purple. Its 4 arms gestured dismissively while speaking in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. The universal translator did its job, but somehow the words felt even more threatening in human language. "Your species has developed shield technology beyond your primitive level," the ambassador's translated voice boomed through the speakers. "Such advancement is not permitted for lesser races. Surrender the technology immediately, or your world will be cleansed." Around the command center, human technicians worked frantically at their stations. Sweat dripped down their faces as they monitored Earth's defenses. Everyone knew the truth. Their shields were good, maybe even great, but they had only 12 functional defense platforms orbiting Earth. The aliens had brought enough firepower to crack a moon in half. "Sir," Lieutenant Choi Sun called from the communications station. "I'm picking up chatter from the other human colonies. Mars Base, Europa Station, the mining operations on Titan. They've all agreed to the Vorthak demands. They're handing over their defense systems." Hyun clenched his fists. 300 years of human space exploration, and this was how it ended. Becoming slaves to creatures who saw them as nothing more than clever monkeys who had accidentally built something useful. The holographic display in the center of the room painted a grim picture. Red dots marked Vorthak fleet positions. They surrounded not just Earth, but every human settlement in the solar system. Blue dots showed human defenses, pathetically outnumbered. The math was simple and brutal. "Commander," Mina's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Zentari delegation is also demanding our surrender. They're saying if we don't comply, they'll glass the planet from orbit. No survivors." Hyun studied the alien faces on the screens around him. The Zentari looked like walking crystals, their bodies reflecting light in rainbow patterns. Beautiful to look at, but their reputation for destroying entire civilizations was well known. The insect-like Kreks chittered excitedly, probably already planning how to divide up human territory. Even the more humanoid Nexari, with their pale skin and oversized heads, watched with cold calculation. "Have we tried explaining that we developed the shields for asteroid defense?" Hyun asked, though he knew it was pointless. "They don't care about our reasons," Mina replied. "According to their records, humans shouldn't be capable of this level of technology for another 500 years. They think we either stole it or we're more dangerous than we appear." A young technician named Kim Jae looked up from his station. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from the Vorthak dreadnoughts. Those aren't scan beams. They're charging their main weapons." The command center fell silent except for the steady beeping of monitoring equipment. Everyone understood what that meant. The aliens weren't just making threats anymore, they were preparing to follow through. "Any word from Earth Defense Command?" Hyun asked. "President Chen is still meeting with the Global Assembly," Mina reported. "But the preliminary vote isn't looking good. Most countries want to surrender the technology rather than face extinction." Hyun walked to the observation deck and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human families were huddled in their homes, watching news reports about the alien ultimatum. Children were asking their parents if the monsters in the sky were going to hurt them, and here he stood, powerless to do anything about it. "Sir," came a hesitant voice from behind him. "There's something else. We've been monitoring deep space communications, and there's a signal coming from Sector 7. It's not using any known human frequencies, but it's definitely not alien either. Hyun turned around. What kind of signal? That's just it, sir. We can't decode it, but the pattern suggests it's meant for us, like someone's trying to send us a message without the aliens detecting it. 300 meters beneath the mountains of South Korea, Dr. Kim Jae worked in a facility that officially didn't exist. The underground laboratory stretched for miles, hidden from satellite detection and shielded from every known scanning technology in the galaxy. Rows of quantum computers hummed quietly, their processors running calculations that would have seemed impossible to most of humanity. Jay's weathered hands moved across holographic interfaces that flickered with streams of data flowing faster than human eyes could follow. At 68 years old, he had spent most of his adult life in this underground world, developing technology that Earth's governments had decided was too dangerous to acknowledge publicly. Dr. Jae, his assistant Choi Sun, called from across the chamber. She stood before a wall-sized display showing real-time information from across the galaxy. The Vorthak battle groups are moving into attack formation. Their flagship just powered up weapons that could crack Earth's crust. Jay didn't look up from his work. His fingers continued to dance across quantum encryption keys, each sequence unlocking communication channels that existed in dimensions most scientists couldn't even theorize about. How long do we have before they start shooting? 18 hours, maybe less, Sun replied, her voice tight with worry. The Global Assembly is voting on surrender in 6 hours. Most countries are ready to hand over our shield technology. A bitter laugh escaped Jay's lips. Shield technology. If they only knew what we've really been building down here. The truth was far more complex than Earth's leaders understood. 30 years ago, Jay had achieved what alien civilizations considered impossible. He had cracked faster-than-light communication using quantum entanglement on a massive scale, while the rest of humanity was still struggling with radio signals that took years to cross space. Jay could send messages instantly across the entire galaxy. But that breakthrough had led to an even bigger discovery. Earth wasn't alone in developing secret technology. As Jay had tested his quantum network, he had detected similar signals from deep space. Other species were also hiding their true capabilities, playing elaborate games of deception while showing only primitive technology too. Galactic observers, Sun, bring up the sleeper ship registry, Jay commanded. The display shifted to show a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Tiny blue dots appeared scattered across multiple star systems, each one representing something the alien empires didn't know existed. To the Galactic Council, humans had only managed to establish a few mining colonies in their own solar system. The reality was very different. 47 active colonies, Sun read from her terminal, all operating under dark protocols, no visible infrastructure, no detectable communications, no signs of advanced technology. They've been waiting for activation orders for over 20 years. Jay stood up and walked to the center of the chamber, where a massive holographic projector showed the current state of known space. The Vorthak Empire controlled huge sections colored in red. The Zentari Collective appeared in crystalline blue. Dozens of other alien civilizations had carved up the galaxy between them, leaving humanity with just a tiny yellow dot representing Earth and its immediate neighbors. But when Jay activated his hidden network, the display transformed completely. Blue dots appeared throughout Vorthak space, hidden human colonies that had been masquerading as dead worlds or natural phenomena. More dots flickered to life in Zentari territory and in the spaces controlled by dozens of other alien species. "My God," Sun whispered. "We're everywhere." "That's the idea," Jay replied. "While the aliens were busy fighting each other and ignoring the primitive humans, we've been quietly establishing a presence in every major star system. Each colony looks like nothing more than an asteroid mining operation or a dead world with some basic research equipment." The quantum computers around them began processing new data streams. Information flowed in from hidden observation posts scattered throughout alien space. Human operatives who had spent decades embedded in alien societies sent regular reports about military movements, technological developments, and political changes. "Dr. J," Sun's voice carried a new excitement. I'm receiving confirmation signals from Colony 7 in the Vorthak core systems. They're reporting that the enemy fleet guarding their homeworld is only at 60% strength. Most of their ships are here, threatening Earth. Jay nodded. This was exactly what he had hoped. For the aliens saw humanity as such a minor threat that they had committed almost their entire military to this operation. It was the kind of strategic mistake that empires made when they underestimated their opponents. What about our manufacturing capabilities? Jay asked. Sun consulted another display. The hidden shipyards in the Kepler system have been operating at full capacity for 15 years. We have 300 vessels ready for deployment, all equipped with quantum communication systems and weapons technology that the aliens have never seen before. The irony was perfect. While Earth appeared to have only a dozen defense platforms, the truth was that humanity had been building a secret fleet using resources harvested from hidden mining operations across the galaxy. Every asteroid that aliens dismissed as worthless, space rock had potentially been hollowed out and converted into a human military installation. "Initiate the activation sequence," Jay commanded. "Send the quantum burst transmission to all colonies. Full spectrum deployment. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of." Captain Yang Do-kyung felt the familiar vibration through the metal floor as mining station Tethys continued its boring work of drilling into the asteroid's core. For 12 years, she had maintained this charade, watching Vorthak patrol ships pass by without giving her operation a second glance. To them, she was just another human trying to scratch out a living in the cold depths of space. The quantum communication device hidden in her personal quarters suddenly came alive with a burst of encrypted data. Yang's heart pounded as she decoded the message that she had been waiting over a decade to receive. 4 simple words that would change everything. Operation Manifest is go. Yang walked calmly to the mining platform's control center, where her crew of 23 humans worked at various stations. To any outside observer, they looked like tired miners going through another routine day of asteroid processing. The reality was very different. "Attention, everyone," Yang announced, her voice carrying an authority that none of the alien observers had ever heard from her before. "Drop the camouflage. All systems to combat readiness." The transformation was breathtaking. What had appeared to be a simple mining operation suddenly revealed its true nature. Hidden panels slid open across the asteroid's surface, exposing weapon systems that could crack a battleship in half. The drilling equipment retracted into concealed compartments, replaced by missile launchers and energy cannons that had been secretly installed over years of careful construction. Inside the station, crew members shed their mining coveralls to reveal military uniforms underneath. Lieutenant Park Min-jun activated the real command center, a sophisticated military installation that had been hidden behind false walls designed to fool alien scanning equipment. "All weapon systems online," he reported. "Stealth generators are dropping. We're about to become very visible to anyone looking." Yang smiled as she watched the tactical display come alive. Similar transformations were happening throughout the galaxy. The boring little mining operation on asteroid KB7 suddenly sprouted enough firepower to take on a Vorthak destroyer. The research station on Kepler 442b dropped its scientific pretense and revealed itself as a fully operational military command. Center Daltiu. 300 light-years away, engineer Shin Bora received the same activation signal aboard what the Vorthak military had catalogued as Human Mining Facility 847 Delta. She had spent 8 years pretending to extract rare metals from a dead moon, while secretly building one of the most advanced weapons platforms in known space. "Time to show these scaled bastards what human engineering really looks like," Bora muttered as she activated hidden systems throughout the facility. The moon's surface split open like a flower blooming, revealing massive railguns that could punch holes through capital ships. What the aliens had assumed was mining equipment turned out to be the galaxy's most sophisticated defense grid, powered by fusion reactors that had been disguised as ore processing plants. Bora's crew of 30 humans worked with practiced efficiency, bringing online weapon systems that incorporated technology the aliens hadn't seen before. Plasma cannons that could adjust their frequency to penetrate different types of shields. missile systems that used quantum targeting to track ships through hyperspace jumps, energy weapons that could disrupt alien computer systems by interfering with their specific neural frequencies. But the most important transformations were happening on alien worlds themselves, among humans who had spent years living as refugees, workers, and scholars in the heart of enemy territory. In the Vorthak capital city of Zeth Kara, translator Nam Soo-jin sat in her small apartment, reading the quantum message on a device hidden inside what appeared to be a simple book. For 7 years, she had worked in the Vorthak Imperial Palace, translating documents and sitting in on meetings that revealed the Empire's deepest military secrets. The aliens saw her as a useful but harmless creature, valuable for her language, skills but too primitive to understand the significance of what she was hearing. They had no idea that every conversation, every strategic discussion, every weakness in their defenses had been carefully recorded and transmitted back to human intelligence networks. Soo-jin activated her hidden communication system and began sending the most important intelligence data of her career. Real-time information about Vorthak fleet positions, command codes for their automated defense systems, and detailed maps of their most secure military installations. Similar scenes played out across dozens of alien worlds. The human refugees, who had fled Earth's supposedly limited resources, turned out to be deep-cover operatives who had been infiltrating alien society for decades. They worked as translators, technicians, servants, and laborers, invisible to their alien employers but constantly gathering intelligence. Dr. Ryu-Han Wool, who had spent 5 years working as a research assistant on the Zentari homeworld, suddenly gained access to classified information about crystal-based computer systems that controlled the Empire's entire communication network. Engineer Lee So-young, employed at a Krek shipyard for over a decade, activated sabotage protocols that would cripple their newest class of battleships. Across the galaxy, what had seemed like humanity's greatest weakness, their tendency to scatter and adapt to different environments, revealed itself as their greatest strength. While alien empires built massive centralized civilizations, humans had quietly spread throughout known space like seeds on the wind, taking root wherever they found opportunity. The awakening had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Go Jin-woo watched from the bridge of the HSV Indomitable as the massive Vorthak fleet entered Earth's solar system. 200 alien warships, each one bristling with enough weapons to turn a continent into glass, moved in perfect formation toward what they believed would be an easy victory. Admiral, Communications Officer Kim Min-ho reported, "The Vorthak Commander is broadcasting surrender demands on all frequencies. They're giving Earth's population one final hour to evacuate major cities before bombardment begins." Jin-woo smiled coldly. The aliens had made the same mistake that every bully throughout history had made. They assumed that appearing weak meant actually being weak. For 15 years, he had commanded humanity's real military fleet while maintaining the illusion that Earth had only a handful of aging defense platforms. "Signal all stealth units," Jin-woo commanded. "Drop concealment on my mark. Let's show these scaled monsters what human ingenuity really looks like." Throughout Earth's solar system, space itself seemed to shimmer and bend as hundreds of human warships suddenly materialized from nothing. They had been hiding in plain sight, their revolutionary stealth technology making them invisible to even the most advanced alien sensors. The ships had been positioned in Earth's shadow, using the planet's mass to mask their heat signatures, while specialized hull coatings absorbed electromagnetic radiation across all known scanning frequencies. The Vorthak fleet commander's shocked roar echoed across communication channels as his tactical display suddenly showed 3 times as many human ships as intelligence had predicted, but the real surprise was yet to come. "All units, execute Pattern Omega," Jin-woo ordered. What happened next defied everything the aliens understood about space combat. Human ships began moving in ways that should have been impossible, their pilots pulling maneuvers that would have killed any other species through sheer gravitational force. The secret was human biology, their ability to withstand extreme acceleration, and their capacity for split-second decision-making under pressure. Fighter pilot Ryu Na-young led her squadron of stealth interceptors in a diving attack that confused every Vorthak targeting computer. Instead of following predictable attack patterns, the human pilots used pure intuition and creativity, making decisions too quickly for alien artificial intelligence to counter. Ghost leader to all units, Nei Young's voice crackled over the comm system as she spiraled her fighter through a gap between two Vorthak destroyers that should have been too narrow to navigate. Remember, they've studied our fake military manuals for years. Time to show them what real human tactics look like. Vorthak had indeed spent decades analyzing human military doctrine from captured databases and public information sources. They had developed counter-strategies for every human tactic they could identify. What they didn't know was that everything they had studied was deliberately planted misinformation, designed to make them prepare for the wrong kind of fight. Well, the aliens expected humans to fight like a traditional military force with rigid formations and predictable strategies. The reality was chaos incarnate. Human pilots ignored their own safety protocols, diving their ships through enemy formations and using the aliens' own size against them. Captain Lee Dong-hyun commanded a squadron of human destroyers that suddenly appeared from behind Jupiter's moons. His ships had been hiding there for months, using the gas giant's radiation to mask their presence. Now they struck at the Vorthak rearguard with weapons the aliens had never encountered before. "Target their command ship," Dong-hyun ordered. "Hit them with the quantum disruptors." The human weapons were based on technology that shouldn't have existed according to alien understanding of physics. Instead of trying to punch through enemy shields with brute force, they disrupted the quantum fields that held the shields together, causing them to collapse from the inside. But the real devastation was happening far from Earth, deep in the heart of Vorthak space itself. On the Empire's capital world, power grids began failing in cascade failures that seemed random but followed a precise pattern. The human servants who had maintained these systems for years had built hidden vulnerabilities into every critical piece of infrastructure. Engineer Park Soo-bin, who had worked as a maintenance technician in the Vorthak Imperial Defense Center for 8 years, activated protocols that shut down the Empire's long-range communication array. Without warning, the Vorthak military lost contact with half their forces scattered across the galaxy. On Vorthak manufacturing worlds, human workers who had been dismissed as simple laborers revealed their true expertise. Production facilities that built the Empire's most advanced weapons suddenly experienced mysterious malfunctions. Assembly lines ground to a halt as sabotage programs that had been quietly installed over years of patient work finally activated. The brilliant part was that each act of sabotage appeared to be an accident or equipment failure. Human operatives had spent years learning exactly how Vorthak technology worked, then creating failures that looked natural but were actually precisely targeted attacks on the Empire's ability to wage war. Back in Earth's solar system, the battle raged with an intensity that shocked the alien fleet. They had expected to face desperate humans making a final stand. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move, while pulling tactical surprises that defied military logic. The asteroid belt erupted with weapons fire as hidden human bases revealed themselves, turning what the aliens had assumed was empty space into a deadly maze of crossfire and ambush points. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Commander Lee Hyun walked through the same Galactic Council chambers where the Vorthak had once threatened humanity with extinction. But everything had changed. The massive hall that once echoed with alien voices demanding human surrender now buzzed with nervous whispers as species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia tried to understand their new reality. The Vorthak Empire no longer existed. Their mighty fleet had been scattered across dozens of star systems, their survivors now refugees, seeking asylum from the very species they had once planned to enslave. The collapse had been so complete and sudden that other alien civilizations were still trying to figure out exactly what had happened. Hyun took his place at the center of the council chamber, no longer as a representative of a minor species begging for mercy, but as the voice of a civilization that had just proven it could reshape the balance of galactic power overnight. Around him, alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their previous arrogance replaced by something humans had rarely seen from them before: genuine fear. The Zentari delegate, a towering crystal being whose body reflected light in prismatic patterns, spoke first. Its voice came through a universal translator, operated by a human technician named Bak Minho, who had been working in the Zentari embassy for 7 years while secretly feeding intelligence back to Earth. "You deceived us," the Zentari accused, its crystalline form flickering with angry red hues. "Your species presented itself as primitive and defenseless, while secretly building a military force that could destroy empires." Hyun remained calm, his hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the assembled aliens. "We protected ourselves," he replied, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. "For decades, you and other empires saw humans as nothing more than clever animals who accidentally developed useful technology. You talked openly about conquest, slavery, and extermination, while assuming we were too primitive to understand the threat." The insect-like Krex representative chittered angrily, its mandibles clicking as it spoke. "You infiltrated our worlds, our governments, our most secure facilities. Your species violated every treaty regarding espionage and military expansion." "Treaties we were never invited to sign," Hyun countered. "Treaties designed by empires to keep younger species weak and dependent. While you carved up the galaxy between yourselves, humanity was doing what we've always done, adapting, surviving, and preparing for the future." Ambassador Won So-young stepped forward, carrying a datapad containing documents that would reshape galactic civilization. Her presence alone was significant. The aliens had finally been forced to acknowledge humanity's right to full diplomatic status, something they had refused for over 50 years. "The old system is finished," So-young announced, activating a holographic display that showed the current state of galactic politics. "The Vorthak collapse has created a power vacuum that's destabilizing 3 major trade routes and threatening the security of dozens of worlds. The Zentari military is struggling to maintain order in sectors that depended on Vorthak protection. The Krex manufacturing bases are failing without the resources they extracted from Vorthak territory." The display shifted to show human colonies scattered throughout what had once been alien-controlled space. Blue dots appeared on hundreds of worlds, each representing human settlements that had been secretly established over decades of careful planning. "However," So-young continued, "humanity is prepared to step in and provide stability. Our hidden colonies are already protecting trade routes, providing humanitarian aid to Vorthak refugees, and maintaining peace in contested systems." A collective murmur went through the alien delegates. They were beginning to understand that humanity hadn't just won a military victory. They had positioned themselves as the new power brokers of galactic civilization. The Nexari ambassador, with its pale skin and oversized cranium, leaned forward, with obvious concern. "What do you want in return for this assistance?" Hyun smiled. This was the question he had been waiting for. A new approach to galactic governance. No more species-based empires that treat other civilizations as resources to be exploited. No more councils that exclude entire species from decision-making. We propose a system based on cooperation rather than domination. The holographic display showed a complex web of interconnected alliances and trade agreements. Instead of large empires controlling vast territories, the new system featured smaller regional governments working together through human-mediated networks. "You see," Hyun explained, "while you were building empires based on military conquest, we were building something more sustainable. Human colonies don't just extract resources and move on. They integrate with local ecosystems and existing populations. Our people don't just work as spies and saboteurs. They form genuine relationships and cultural exchanges." Dr. Kim Jae's voice crackled through the quantum communication system, transmitted from his hidden facility beneath Earth. "The galaxy has spent too long thinking in terms of winners and losers, conquerors and conquered. Humanity offers a different model: partnership." The alien delegates looked around the chamber with new understanding. The humans scattered among them as translators, technicians, and advisors weren't just service workers. They were the foundation of the intelligence network that spanned the entire galaxy. But more than that, they were proof that humans could work alongside any species when treated as equals rather than inferiors. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would echo through history. Underestimating humanity's capacity for long-term strategic thinking wasn't just a mistake, it was potentially fatal. But more importantly, they had discovered that humans didn't want to replace the old empires with a human empire. They wanted something entirely new, the end.